Hi everybody, it's Nick and it's World Menopause Day, so I know there's going to be a lot of discussion on the menopause today, and yeah, I did want to chip in my bit because I feel really passionately about it. Now, there are, in my opinion, I think there are hundreds of thousands, if not more, of women out there who are simply being left to fend for themselves in what can be a truly, truly traumatic and dark time. And fundamentally, that is just wrong. It is just wrong, because the menopause and supporting women through difficult menopauses is not about them alone. It's not about the individual. It's about we. This thing is bigger than any one of us. Okay, that's definitely what I found. Is you need support. We need a we to get through this, not an I. And that starts at the very basics with your family and your friends and your colleagues. And the menopause almost needs to be redefined. Okay, it's not something that women just get on with. It's not something that's in women's head. It's not that they are hormonal. Okay, it's much bigger than that, and it manifests itself in much bigger ways than that. And the reason I feel passionately is I think women are losing their lives because of it. I think some women are so desperate. And do you know why I think that? Because I felt like that. And it's really interesting that I was really blessed because I wasn't an I was part of a we. So I had a husband and close family that were understanding. And indeed, my mum had an early menopause, which was forced upon her because she had to have a hysterectomy. She was only 42 and they had to take her ovaries. And I remember very, very clearly what it was like for my mum, and it was horrendous. So, I was able to speak to her and tell her, sorry, I'm nearly crying now talking about it, because it is crap. Okay, and we need to talk about this and be honest about how it really is for a lot of women, a lot of lost women that are left on their own with GPs that are telling them to get on with it, or it's in their head, and it's not okay. It is not okay. So it needs to start with the conversations with our friends and our families and our colleagues, and we need to take it much more seriously. And it's not just a matter of, oh yeah, it's the menopause, whatever, you'll get through it. We need support to get through it. We need peer support. We need friends support. We need deep and meaningful connection. We need to be able to talk about it. We need to be able to tell people honestly how we're feeling without being judged. And that may include, I am feeling like I can't go on. I am feeling that the world is so dark in front of me. I feel so shit. I just can't face life anymore, right? Don't judge people for saying that. Don't judge them. Sit with them. Sit with them and support them. And the best thing that was ever said to me, and it was a lifesaver. Was I remember when I first talked to my GP about how I was really feeling, and she says consistently to me, don't worry, Nick, we will get through this. We will get through this. We will find a way to get through this. No matter what, we will find a way. And we might need to try different things, and some things might not work, but I will not let this beat us. We will get through it. And that is what every GP should be saying to every woman that presents themselves to them to talk about how they're feeling and the symptoms of the menopause. So I think the first thing is they need to actually be listened to, and not to be thought that this is just in their heads, or, they're feeling sorry for themselves, or I think you're depressed. Okay, or actually your blood results are kind of average. Actually, the way they're looking at blood results on the NHS, quite frankly, is pants when it comes to the menopause. They are not analysing the bloods correctly, and they're not looking at half the indicators that need to be looked at, because hormones are really complex. Hormones are not just about HRT. Does anybody talk to you about insulin? It's like one of our biggest hormones. Let me talking about that. So, you know what? We need to understand the impact of this. And the first thing is, if a friend or family member is telling you that they are feeling bad, give them the space to be able to say that. Don't judge them, and help them reach out for the support. And the second thing is the GPs and the medical profession. Right, number one, please listen to your patients and listen to the symptoms they are describing, and don't just immediately put it down to a form of depression and give some antidepressants, which may be okay for someone in the menopause. I know somebody in the menopause who do that and it works for them. It didn't for me because, my hormone imbalances were different. And, the medical profession is, a little bit like being a detective, and sometimes you have to try several things before you get to the right answer. But listen to the symptoms and don't just look at a very one-dimensional view of the blood tests. If you don't understand them, get somebody else to have a look at them that is a specialist in this area. And the worst thing, if any GPs are listening to this, please, for the love of God, listen. Do not tell a woman to simply get on with it. That is a natural phase of life and she simply needs to get on with it, because actually it's not. And the reason it's not natural is because our evolution has not kept pace with our environment. So our bodies are out of sync. Our bodies are asking for things that it still thinks it needs, right? And it's not getting. And until those things come into line, the menopause can be a very, very dangerous time. And the reality, and this is no exaggeration, you may well have blood on your hands, because I am convinced that the rise in suicide rates of 40 plus women is linked to the menopause. I am convinced of it, right? So if a woman is told to simply get on with it and they are already feeling desperate, they are already feeling that they don't know where to go to get some help and they simply cannot face going on like this, I think some women are ending it. So don't tell them to just get on with it. Please don't. And if you don't know the answers, get them to somebody that does. And that's the third thing. I mean, when I was referred initially to a gynaecologist in the NHS, and quite frankly, the answer was just simply, oh, here's some HRT. And do you know what? That gynaecologist, when I said, I feel so bad sometimes, I have suicidal thoughts, I just feel so bad. I just feel like I can't go on. I can't get out of bed. I can't operate. I have no motivation. I am so anxious. I'm so irritable. I have no self-esteem. I've just completely lost the plot. I'm either going mad or there is something fundamentally wrong with me, and I just don't know if I can go on like this. Do you know what? He didn't even look up from his notes. He didn't even look up from his notes to explore that. He just wanted to give his very practical, right, we'll put a coil in him and then we can get you on this certain type of HRT and get me out of that room. And that was a real turning point for me and my GP, because obviously I went back to my GP and I reported back to her on where we were, and that was a turning point for us that said, okay, the NHS is not going to be able to solve the problem. So therefore, that's when I went to my private consultant. I know that there's lots of women out there that don't have £175 every time they need to go and see a consultant. I know that, yeah, and they are just sat with these symptoms. And even if they're given the HRT, it may not work for several reasons. One is, hormones are really complex. That could just be one part of the picture. In actual fact, I didn't go on HRT with my private consultant until 6 months after he started treating me, because he was dealing with my insulin resistance and my vitamin deficiencies first and foremost. And then we went on to a specialised form of HRT, which was the most natural one we could get. Most of the time, the NHS doesn't prescribe that because it's expensive. Okay. And also, I had to take, and I do take testosterone as well, which, that's not wrapped up in a HRT patch, is it? So, and that was a real turning point for us. But a lot of women don't have this turning point. They're just told to get on with it, or they're not believed. And the implications of this are just massive. There is this huge amount of women that are just left to fend for themselves, and some of them I don't believe are managing it. So as a society, we need to step in here. This is not okay. The menopause should not be allowed to define a woman. It is a transitional stage. Right now, it's a very difficult transitional stage for a lot of women, because actually our evolution is not in sync with our environment. And until it is, we need to step in and we need to be able to help women get through this stage, whether that be with natural or medical interventions or a mixture of the two. Okay, so we need to start having this conversation. The GPs in particular are at the front line here and need far better training to be able to cope with it. Okay, and we need to get support groups in place so that these women are listened to. So please listen when somebody says they are feeling shit and they are going through the menopause and they need help. Just please listen and get them some support. that is my call to action and my plea for today. Thanks for listening. Bye.